Moving on to the appraisal process. You've locked your interest rate, you get this kind of stuff going on. What is an appraisal and why, as a first-time home buyer, do I need one?
Actually, every loan that I can think of requires an appraisal. Sometimes they'll call for drive-by appraisals or exterior-only appraisals, but for the most part, every loan is calling for a full, what we call URAR, Uniform Residential Appraisal Report. Okay. And that's one where the appraiser actually goes into the home, all the utilities are on, and they make sure that there aren't any obvious issues, and they're making sure that the house is worth what the customer's paying for it. Obviously, the lender's concerned about the collateral, so we're concerned about condition and then value to support what we're lending.
So it sounds like it's an inspection, but it's not an inspection. What's the difference between an inspection and an appraisal, and do I need both?
I highly recommend a home inspection, especially on a lot of these foreclosures where you're not getting a seller's disclosure that might tell you about issues that the seller has had in the past or the age of things within the house. But again, basically the appraisal is making sure the house is worth what they're paying for. It supports the amount of money that the lender is lending, and looks for obvious things. So in other words, if the appraiser walks in and there's a huge leak in the ceiling, that's obvious. Mm-hmm. Appraiser's not going to get up on the roof and confirm how many layers of shingles and that the drip edge is on there correctly. And it's not a fine-tooth comb inspection like a home inspection is. Home inspection is going to go through all the mechanicals, plumbing, the electrical, the furnace, if there's well and septic, the roof, the foundation, everything about it. I think it's the best money you spend.
Okay. What happens if the appraisal and or the inspection find problems? Do we have ways to help the buyer kind of take care of these things? How does that work?
Depends on the nature of the problem. If it's something minor, and depends on who the seller is as well. If it's not a bank-owned property, many times buyer and seller will negotiate with each other to determine who's going to have the item fixed and prior to closing. In some cases, the home is in horrible shape because maybe it is a foreclosure and perhaps all the copper plumbing had been taken or the furnace or the cupboards, or we've seen it all. Yeah. And for those types of situations, we have a product through FHA called a 203K loan that actually allows the buyer to roll in required repairs but also desired improvements, which is really nice. Even if the home has perfectly good carpeting, if perhaps it's not to the new buyer's liking, they would have the option of rolling in some desired improvements as well.
Okay, so the 203K is what we're looking at for that. It's something not new, but something that we're becoming more familiar with and seeing more. Is it something that we're seeing more with foreclosures and with the market the way it is?
It is for me. That's where I've used the product the most, because typically customers are coming to me with a home that is not in a mortgageable condition. So it's, if you want this home, this is what we have to do. These are the appraiser's list of requirements. They have to be completed in order for this home to be compliant. So, but there are also, lots of just old, wonderful homes that are dated, where they're 1970s kitchen, with the avocado green appliances and things of that nature, where the loan works perfectly too.